You might not even believe your eyes on the Bitcoin monthly chart. A green monthly candle right now. Is October still in play? Around 4 days left. We're going to look at the Bitcoin zoomed out charts as well as the altcoin market cap charts. And it's going to be a bullish video. Let me just say that. QT ends Monday. Tuesday, FOMC rate cut. Wednesday, Fed prints up $1.5 trillion. Thursday, US-China deal. Friday, S&P 500 earnings. Saturday, tariff deadline. These are massive, massive macro events, bullish ones, that play directly into everything that I've been talking about for basically months. The business cycle, QT coming to an end. What happens post QT? It's going to be a bullish video, but I want to just lead with caution. All those longs, all the bulls, they're going to get crazy with their leverage going into this week. And we have this, a new CME gap, Bitcoin $110,700. Be careful. It might be a red week. October might not be up. So I don't know what's going to happen with price action for this week, but one thing that I do know, everybody, when you zoom out on the crypto space and you zoom out on the charts, I will tell you, and I say this emphatically, the bull run hasn't happened yet. That's what's crazy. And I want to talk about that in this video. So hit the subscribe and like on the way in. If you're not in our intelligence system with our risk models, our exit planners, altcoin market cap chart, still sitting at an incredibly low 21 risk. The bull market has not started. Alt season has not started. Get back there. We have a free trial going on. Get into our exit planners, use price speculation, use risk mode, and just start strategizing and getting ready for the bull. So everybody, what I want to do is I want to start with this. This is big news for today. China top trade negotiator reached consensus with us. China, top trade negotiator, talked about tariff and export control. China, top trade negotiator, will enhance communication with us. The deal's getting done, everybody, and it's looking very promising. And this is going into a week where there's going to be rate cuts. This is going into a week where there's a ton of speculation that QT is now coming to an end. Before I look at the Bitcoin charts, and I want to use a little bit of gold as we look at Bitcoin as well as altcoins. Before I do any of that, as we start this week, I'm going to show you on the altcoin market cap chart on the weekly, what happened when gold topped last cycle. What were altcoins doing? And on the altcoin market cap chart, I want to bring up the RSI on the monthly. And I just want to talk about when I'm selling, or at least going to probably sell heavier. I want to talk about exactly what that will look like. And it's all a momentum oscillator as it relates to the momentum of altcoins as well as the risk scores of those altcoins. But here's the deal. This is where we are. And you can open any chart, the altcoin market cap chart right here. You can go to Bitcoin chart right here, and you can look across cycles. I made this post. This was from March when, if you remember, there was just crazy panic with the tariff stuff. And I explained in 2018, Trump's tariff chaos forced a liquidity pivot, and it's literally about to happen again. Now, this is everything, everybody, when it comes to this crypto bull cycle. This post that I'm reading to you right now, if you want to know what happens next, and it's been a long time coming, right? I posted this back in March, but this has been a process. December 26th, out of nowhere, it all bounced. A massive bullish reversal began. If you remember, when Trump was doing his thing in 2018, there was insane fear in the bear market lows. This was a lot of tariff fear in that bear market. But all of a sudden, things pivoted. And right now, we have an incredibly similar pivot happening. Jerome Powell blinked then, the Fed pivoted, and QT came to an end. Guess what's happening? Right now, Q4 2025. Trump is doing what he did then, while at the same time making sure America is no longer ripped off. Once again, if everyone is calling for a recession and acting like everything's going to break. Do you remember? Do you remember? Go to an Ethereum chart. Here's March going into April. It was game over, right? Everybody was just calling for a recession, the bear market starting. No, it's the exact opposite and is so similar to what happened in the bear market low of 2018. If you're paying attention to the data, if you're paying attention to the macro and you're not emotionally getting wrapped up into the short-term moves and the washouts that have been happening back and forth, longs and shorts, if you're focused on the macro, you're seeing this big picture. While all of this is playing out again, Trump 2.0, and I want you to keep this in mind, and we're going to look at the charts. Trump 2.0 is bullish on crypto, wants to buy a ton of Bitcoin, and the SEC is actually now rooting for you. And this is where we are right now. This is the week that we're going into. And I want to echo again, be careful, because I'm not saying this week is the week we're going to the moon. October is going to be October and October ends green. The bull market starts this week. I'm not saying that. Be careful this week. But what I am saying is, especially we look at gold right now, we're in our second week here. We've had this red candle, potential top out happening. What I want to show you on the Bitcoin chart and the altcoin chart, and then I want to talk about this whole thing about selling, because I know it sounds crazy, but now's the time. You have to think about this. And I've been thinking about this for quite some time, and I know many of you have as well. But gold right now, potentially topping out. There's a lot that we need to wait for in terms of maybe seeing more solid lower highs and lower high resistance. But if we're getting gold getting ready to consolidate like it did, this was August 2020. What I want to show you on the Bitcoin chart is this. If you go to Bitcoin on the monthly, August 2020 on the monthly was right here. So isn't it interesting that it hadn't broken all-time high yet, but it still had, but it was getting close, but it still hadn't made its parabolic bull run. This is the most interesting thing right now. If gold's getting ready to top out, Bitcoin's above all-time high. In fact, it's been consolidating for like almost a year above 100, around $100,000. Now, this for me, with gold, what the Fed is doing, QT getting ready to come to an end, getting into maybe going into this period of post-quantitative tightening normalization, the bull run for even Bitcoin, and that's crazy to say when it's sitting above 100, has not happened in my opinion. I think there could be a liquidity rush into crypto and Bitcoin could actually fly from where it is right now. It's already at all-time highs. It's already broken all-time highs. So if you go to a weekly chart, the one thing I want to mention, then we're going to look at altcoins. The one thing I want to mention is this. And I just noticed this, and I thought interestingly enough, we're going to look at three pieces of structure that is happening on this weekly zoomed out. Interestingly enough, right here was gold topping out. And right now we're in that like similar period of maybe the end of structure getting ready to happen, right? But this was gold topping out back here. But you can even see the RSI, the slower moving momentum oscillator, in a very similar area as it was these previous times. But really what I'm watching is, and what I'm trying to make a point is, on this weekly chart, completely reset, even on Bitcoin. You go to our risk models. If you go to Bitcoin risk model, completely reset. It's sitting at a 48. It's under 50. We've had this just crazy higher high, higher low consolidation. The bull run that we've seen in previous cycles, if you look at our risk score, when they start getting crazy, when it starts coming time to sell, that move has not happened yet, even for Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's sitting above 100,000. Go back to the chart though. It's just the room to the upside in terms of momentum. It's completely reset and it is there for that bull move, right? So I'm not saying this was the bull market, but this was a very nice, powerful bull move that we had back here in 2023. But the bull market, same thing. Very similar structure as 2023 and as right now. Going over to the altcoin chart, I want to look at gold, and then I want to talk about the RSI and this thought of, on the monthly, like selling. I know, and I get it. The morale, especially in the altcoin land, is tough. Even thinking about selling is like, you're not trying to get your hopes up. You're not trying to but now is the time to think about it, because if all of a sudden a bull run comes, it just happens fast. And you don't want to be like, I'm just going to sell the top. It's unrealistic. You have to have a plan to sell through the move. And if it happens out of nowhere, you want to be prepared. But gold topping out on the altcoin market cap chart. Let's open up the weekly, go back there. I wanted to point this out. I thought it was kind of important. If you look at when gold topped in August 2020, notice what altcoins did. They still consolidated, right? They didn't break out right away. There was actually a really big dip and more consolidation before actually making its way into the bull run. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly how this is going to play out. We're already in a consolidation and we can go lower. This 200 week moving average on the altcoin chart down here, 700 billion. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we make our way to that area. What I do know though is last time gold topped, altcoins did consolidate in one way or another before going higher. Maybe that happens again. Maybe it's just bouncing around in this area for a while before breaking out. Maybe it's big dip, right? But one thing that I want to just bring into the equation for you actually two things, is this. The quantitative tightening, the rate cuts starting to, rate cuts starting to happen, rate cut this week, QT potentially ending this week. That's a huge deal for risk on assets and especially altcoins. It's so huge. And I've explained this nonstop in previous videos. I'm going to keep explaining it, right? In terms of how altcoins operate throughout these business cycles, right? And whether it's QE, QT, post QE, post QT. So point being, that's number one, the business cycle. But number two is, man, market structure bill looking like it's going to get passed this year. I know there's not much left of the year, but that happens, everybody. Clarity for the crypto space. Remember, the pro-crypto president, the pro-crypto SEC, while this business cycle chart looks how it looks, while gold, and I don't want to just say this is a definite topping out right now, but gold right now consolidating, and it could lead into a more mid to long-term consolidation like we had last cycle. These are very, very bullish ingredients for altcoins. So if you go to the altcoin market cap chart on the monthly, I have this. It's very simple, and there's a really important point I want to make to you. When you're looking at this RSI, you can see back here in 2017 into 18, it topped out, and then this last bull run, it topped out lower. We might get a lower high for this chart, and there's no guarantee. Maybe it breaks this previous high. I don't know. But one thing that I do know is if this RSI and this chart gets into some type of momentum and it's approaching this area, if you're a member in our intelligence system, you will want to be keeping such a close eye on our risk models. What are the scores? Right now, there's dog on Bitcoin, number one coin on Bitcoin besides BTC itself. What's Ethereum doing in that environment where, the altcoin momentum oscillator is approaching this lower high trend line? What is Ethereum doing? And if you go back into previous cycles, I really want to point something to your attention. Look at Ethereum. And actually, in fact, if we go to this momentum oscillator and we go to April 1st, 2021, and you go to an Ethereum risk model, right? And this is where the risk models they're so powerful. Look at the risk on Ethereum. And it was basically a 90 at the beginning of April 2021. So as that momentum oscillator is getting into that area, it's hitting a 90. This is a phenomenal area to start taking profits, and you're going to want to monitor the risk models that we have back here. We have a ton of risk models back here, and alerts will be going off, I'm sure, for members when Ethereum's hitting 90. I'm sure when certain altcoins are hitting 50, 60, 70, alerts are going to be going off to take profit. But the thing I want to point out to you, and all these risk models will look different, by the way, everybody. Here's XRP. Just look at the difference between Ethereum. Completely different. What I want to point out to you is, on this monthly chart, everything excluding Bitcoin and stable coins, if the move is happening, right, and all of a sudden we're like actually breaking, and look at this. This is going back to March 2024, which is just crazy to me, the amount of time we've been consolidating. But we're getting this breakout move to the upside. We're breaking out of all this structure, multi-year structure on this monthly chart. You are going to want to have a plan for that move, and you want to have the plan right now. And so this is what I'm saying. And this is what I wanted to point out to you. When this was happening, wasn't the top of the bull market. When it got overbought here, this wasn't the top of the bull market. Look at it. It kept going, right? And then it starts putting in bearish divergence as it keeps going. This could be the case here. It's like hitting this trend. It might start consolidating on the RSI, but the top is not in. And, then this is kind of struggling to get up, but altcoins are going higher. But this entire area is like the exit area. If this move happens, however you want to just plan that out, plot that out. And you know what? At this point, after years of accumulation, if we just start making a little bit of a move right now, there's people that I'm sure would just want to start taking profit like immediately, right? With bigger sell zones, at the real breakout levels, the real overbought levels, and that's fine. But everybody has to have their own plan. I encourage you just to come up with a plan, have a plan. This is why we have the intelligence system. This is what I'm using for my plan. And then when we get into accumulation stage, this is what I'm using for accumulation. This is going to be my guide for crypto profits and accumulation from now on. And so I wanted to kind of, as we start this week, because it's going to be a volatile week, I really think it's going to be a volatile week, I just wanted to kind of present to you the macro data, the macro setup, and encourage all of you just to be prepared, get ready for it, and specifically this week, be prepared for volatility. There's no telling how this week is going to go. And I'm not even going to sit here and try to guess, but I do know one thing. Using leverage is a very bad idea. So I don't give advice, but if I could, that's the one thing I would say. Just don't use leverage. I just don't. So many people get very wrecked using leverage. So these are my thoughts as we begin the week. I appreciate you cruising through. Hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. If you're not in our intelligence system, I'm going to keep saying it. We have the free trial still going. Get back there. Join our members that are signing up, that are back there right now planning. I don't want to, Alessandro, I don't want to like throw him under the bus, but I think text alerts, I think they might be getting released this week. Don't hold me to it, but I'm shooting for it, everybody. Text alerts. When we have email alerts right now, so this is for members right now, but right now you can go and you can add alerts via email. We will have text alerts. So you get your risk score alerts, time to sell, you can get it via text. And I think it's coming very soon. So I'm just really excited about it. So hit the subscribe, hit the like if you enjoyed this content. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.